Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Yes, and we're working through the letter O. Not a letter that has the most abundant material, but it does have some really interesting stuff, including this particular batch. Well, we've got interesting composer, interesting conductor, obviously, and an interesting collection of things that you've never heard of. First, Leo Ornstein. Now, Ornstein lived forever. He lived from 1892, possibly, we're not quite sure, to 2002. I mean, how's that? I mean, it's like unbelievable. And there's a nice little summary of him on the back of one of these discs. It says, perhaps no other composer was ever so consistently inconsistent throughout his life as Russian-born Leo Ornstein, whose family emigrated to New York in 1907. While most composers can be seen to progress through stages, generally tending towards greater complexity and sophistication in their later works, his muse led him constantly back and forth over the full range between dissonance and tonality. Although little known to contemporary audiences, Ornstein was considered to be one of the foremost composers in the early part of the 20th century. The works on the present recording display the composer's full breadth of style and harmonic complexity. He was known in the early decades of the 20th century as an avant-gardist. He was friends with like Henry Cowell and Verez and all of those people. And his music is fun. It really is. And it is constantly interesting. You never quite know what you're going to get. But he was a good craftsman. He really was. So here we have Janice Weber, piano, A Morning in the Woods, the Danse Sauvage, the Wild Men's Dance, the Fourth Piano Sonata, the Seventh Piano Sonata, Impressions of the Thames from 1914, the Tarantella from 1960, A Long Remembered Sorrow from 1964, and, of course, one of his biggest hits, Suicide in an Airplane. Yeah, 3 minutes of that. Really interesting guy and interesting stuff. You should hear him. He wrote some wonderful music. This is a terrific disc, by the way, on New World Records. It's got his string quartet number 3 and his piano quintet. Really, really lovely works on New World by an assortment of performers, not by a regularly constituted ensemble. So we're not going to go through all the names. But again, he wrote a lot of chamber music. He wrote a lot of everything. He lived to be 110. Really. I mean, someone who's really waiting to be discovered and organized in a way that we can kind of like wrap our brains around him and what he did. And here is the Marc-Andre Hamelin, or Hamelin, Leo Ornstein disc on Hyperion, which also contains Suicide in an Airplane, à la Chinoise, the Savage Dance of the Wild Men, Poems of 1917, Arabesques, Impressions de la Tamise, and Piano Sonata number 8, which is a big 30-minute long sucker. Serious work. Well worth hearing, obviously. So Leo Ornstein is a name that you're going to want to know. Keep in mind. It's really, really, really interesting. So there's that. That started off this, right? Let me just make sure I have these things in the right order. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy. Then we've got Eugene Ormandy. Yeah! Most of my Ormandy is upstairs. And now, of course, we have the big Ormandy boxes. But back in the day, there wasn't so much. So we have Biddulph, Ormandy the violinist. Yeah. Pieces by Rimsky-Korsakov, Victor Herbert, Derdla, and Dvorak. Then we've got Ormandy and his Salon Orchestra doing the Brahms Hungarian Dance number 2 and Hosmer's Southern Rhapsody. When was the last time you heard that? Then Ormandy and the Dorsey Brothers Concert Orchestra, Kozlo, Speyer, and Britt, Was It a Dream? Ormandy and the Minneapolis Symphony. So we've got the Zemachsen Chorale and Fugue in D minor, Eugene Zador's Hungarian Caprice, Griffiths, The Pleasure Dome of Kubla Khan, and Harris, Roy Harris, When Johnny Comes Marching Home. Then you've got some Philadelphia things. These are all early stuff. The Barber First Essay for Orchestra, Menotti's Overture to Amelia Goes to the Ball, Miaskovsky's Symphony Number 21, the Symphonia Domestica by Strauss, and Ormandy and the Hollywood Bowl doing the first movement of Mahler 8. Wow. What a collection. The art of Eugene Ormandy in his early days. And he was really just an amazingly eclectic and all-encompassing artist even then. It's really, really kind of special. I think that's just nifty as hell. And then we've got this thing. Remember the Great Conductors of the 20th Century series on EMI? That had all sorts of stuff licensed from other people, but it was basically EMI stuff. And we've got, let's see, Brahms' Fourth. This is with the Philadelphia and Bavarian Radio. Strauss's Don Juan with Bavarian Radio, which is really an exciting performance. Webern's Im Sommerwind. Kabalevsky, Kolos Brognon Overture. Rachmaninoff Symphony No. 2. And that's the RCA one. It's 56 minutes. And Sibelius Lemminkainen's Return. Just a nice collection. It contains rare material previously unreleased on CD. So there it is. Ormandy. And of course, we've been celebrating Ormandy on this channel as Sony has finally been re-releasing all that stuff. And there's a big Ormandy box coming in February 2025. This being mid-January 2025. So get ready. It should be here soon. Really looking forward to it. It's got some really, really cool stuff. I was just talking to Jed Disler about the big Ormandy box because he's reviewing it for Gramophone and he got it earlier. It's got a really cool St. John Passion. Get ready. Get ready. You'll be surprised. Anyway, and then last but not least, the Orlando Consort with the Toledo Summit. Early 16th century Spanish and Flemish songs and motets. Well, the summit was an occasion for things to happen musically. The Orlando Consort revisits a fascinating meeting between two musical cultures. During his ceremonial visit to Toledo, Spain, Philip the Fair of Burgundy and his royal hosts, Ferdinand and Isabella, remember them? This was in 1502, the Toledo Summit, vied to display the artistic achievements of their respective realms. See, when you went on a trip, you didn't just bring a couple pieces of luggage and maybe a toaster or some sort of housewarming gift to your guest. You brought your court. They all showed up, including all of your musicians. So music was key to all the festivities, solemn celebrations, worship, courtly banquets, dances, and chivalric entertainments. And here a lot of them are. I'm sure there was a lot more, but yeah. A rather interesting concept album again. And it just goes to show that if you can be a little creative in the way you file your CDs under the letter O, you can get all kinds of nifty things. Some of these collections are really, really cool. You remember in the last video, we had the Fable of Orpheus. We had an Ozawa collection. It's all kinds of fun stuff. Really is. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me and take care.